Thanks, Sophie. You're watching South East Today. Our top story tonight: mould, exposed electricity and a leaking roof. The terminally ill man who says conditions in his rented flat are having a devastating effect on his health.
Because of my illnesses, it's ruined my immune system, and I was given almost a year to live.
We need smarter sat-navs as HGVs get stuck on a narrow village road. A petition calls for a change of direction. We're live in Goudhurst. Claudia has more. A stark warning from adoptive families that more could break down after big cuts to specialist therapy for children. And take a peek into Winston's wardrobe. Some of Churchill's most notable outfits are brought to life at his old country residence, Chartwell. Hello, welcome to the programme. I'm Ellie Crisell. First tonight, a terminally ill man from Sussex says poor conditions in his rented flat are having a devastating effect on his physical and mental health. He's encountered mould, an exposed electricity mains cable and a leaking roof. Barry says he was forced to sleep in a tent to shelter from the water coming from the ceiling of his property in Hove. Southern Housing have made repairs, but the 56-year-old tenant says the problems haven't been properly addressed. Our Home Affairs correspondent Charlie Rose has been to investigate.
The extractor fan is leaking water from the loft, etc. I have no cooking facilities. I got live wires hanging here that are really dangerous, so I cannot cook and even make a cup of tea or coffee.
Water dripping from the kitchen ceiling onto electrical appliances, even seeping into light fittings. And a bedroom occupied by damaged white goods and what looks like mould.
I can't put my bed down because of this contaminated stuff, and there's stuff on the floor and there's no carpet.
Barry says his flat is unfit for human habitation.
I think it's disgraceful, it's harmful, it's dangerous, it's life-threatening, but I don't understand why they haven't done nothing about it.
Barry, who's terminally ill, says he struggles to take care of himself because of his poor health.
The ceiling's getting worse, look.
Last year, he filmed this damage to the ceiling before he was moved into temporary accommodation while repairs were carried out. He returned 3 weeks ago, but claims the problems haven't been fixed properly, only patched up. Can you tell me about the toll this is taking on your physical and emotional well-being, Barry?
Because of my illnesses, it's ruined my immune system, and I was given almost a year to live. This flat has actually done that to me. It's killing me. Yeah. And it's too late now anyways. So the damage is done. So I try everything to do my head in.
How would you summarise the way Southern Housing have treated you?
Absolutely disgusting. Over and over again I've called them. Something needs to be done. This was before he was decant. And now they're, oh well, you know, it's a complaint, takes 5 days and 10 days to respond. I told him it's not good enough.
Social tenants tend to stay for life, so the stock doesn't free up as quickly as it does elsewhere. And as we know, not enough housing is being built. The 300,000 homes that were promised haven't arisen, and obviously that puts a big strain on councils because they just have nowhere to put the people that need housing.
Barry and his mum say a Southern Housing representative has visited the flat to look at the latest problems, but nothing more has been done. Southern Housing said there would be another inspection today, and any repairs or mould treatment that needed doing would be actioned immediately.
Well, Charlie joins me now. Charlie, what else has the Housing Association had to say?
Well, interestingly, Ellie, Southern Housing say a recent inspection of Barry's flat confirmed there were no ongoing leaks. But I was there yesterday. I filmed those pictures you saw of the water dripping from the extractor fan. Barry and his mum say no one else has visited to carry out any further inspections today. It is possible, of course, that they may have turned up when Barry was out, but apparently his housing officer is due to come to the flat on Tuesday. Southern Housing added that they've spent almost £9,000 on repairs. They provided electrical appliances. They say attempts to deliver other items have failed because Barry missed appointments. The broken ones, they say, that are in Barry's bedroom will be taken away. Southern Housing say they understand the challenges Barry is facing. Their priority, they say, is making sure he is safe and supported and in a well-maintained home. They say he is due compensation.
Charlie, thank you. A murder investigation is underway following the death of a man at a property in Worthing. Emergency services were called to an address in Linden Road at around 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon to reports of a man having suffered serious injuries. He was pronounced dead at the scene. A public inquiry to consider plans for several tower blocks up to 15 stories high in the centre of Red Hill has got underway. The developer wants to build more than 250 homes on a car park next to the railway station, but more than 2,000 local people have objected, and Reigate and Banstead Borough Council rejected the application last year. An extension on a 19th century home in East Sussex has been nominated for a prestigious architecture prize. Hastings House was transformed by Hugh Strange architects with a series of timber-framed rooms, a yard made of concrete and a steel staircase. It's up against the refurbishment of Big Ben for the Royal Institute of British Architects Sterling Prize. An MP who claims sat-nav companies have been sending HGVs through a small Kent village has launched a petition to clear lorries from the roads. Mike Martin says they frequently go through Goudhurst when travelling between Ashford and Tunbridge Wells, despite a narrow S-bend in the road where vehicles frequently get stuck. He says lorry sat-navs should inform drivers it's not a suitable route. Claudia Sabasis reports.
A lorry navigating the tight S-bend corner this morning. It's not easy. Goudhurst still has the same 13th century road layout. It was modified in the 1700s, but that's quite a long time ago.
So these are the bells that are here to sort of protect the corner and the house. But one of the problems is if you get two lorries that meet either way, there's not enough room. So that's a typical example. If you had a lorry coming the other way now, it would be a problem.
Jason Hicks runs the bakery. He's been here nearly 20 years.
Well, I mean, there's continuous traffic, but one of the biggest problems is when you get the big lorries coming up and down. They just get stuck because it's such a narrow road. And obviously at the top there's a pinch point where traffic just can't move, and it can cause problems for hours, yeah.
It may well be just an average Thursday, but hundreds of vehicles squeeze through the village every day. This car got damaged in an accident yesterday.
We're never going to see the end of lorries in Goudhurst, but if we can reduce the numbers, then that reduces the risk of any accidents, reduces the risk of damage, and reduces the risk to pedestrians as they're going up and down the high street to the shops here in the village.
They normally get caught up on this corner, so the grade 1 listed wall's been damaged, and there's also damage to the house across the road from us as well. Cars also get hit.
I've lived in the village for 40 years. And even 40 years ago, there were signs on both sides of the village to try and deter Arctic's big lorries, what have you, going up around the corner there.
Tunbridge Wells MP Mike Martin is now calling on sat-nav companies to make adjustments to their location software to stop sending HGVs through Goudhurst.
HGVs use specialist sat-naving. So you and I, we use Google Maps or Waze, but they have specialist software. And if you think about it, that's right, because it tells them where the bridges are low or where the roads are narrow. Often lorries from the continent travelling up from Dover and nipping across from the M20, across, just missing out much of the M25 and joining the M25 further west. So they take this route through Goudhurst because it looks like the shortest route, but it's not.
In a statement, the Road Haulage Association say they're urging hauliers to plan their journeys to avoid getting into difficulties and to follow signage and directions from the authorities.
And Claudia's down in Goudhurst for us this evening. Hello, Claudia. This isn't a new problem, but they're saying that sort of ironically the modern technology is actually making it worse.
Oh, Ellie, I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? You know, we've all got these, we've all got phones, and if you put directions into your maps, the chances are you're going to get directed through Goudhurst, because, you know, this is a major A road, and what this petition is about is getting the sat-nav companies that work with the HGV driver companies to tweak that software. I mean, look, there's a lorry going past now. You can see the bollards behind me. What happens is they get caught on that, and it can take 4 or 5 hours before breakdown comes and clears the road. There's debris everywhere from where there was an accident last night. So it's a huge problem, dangerous as well, because there's not even a mirror here. These lorries just fill the road, and it's incredibly dangerous.
Claudia, thank you. Adoptive families have warned that cuts to specialist therapy for their children could ultimately lead to more adoptions breaking down. In April, the government announced a 40% cut to the amount of money each child is entitled to claim for therapy. Last year, each eligible child could access £2,500 for assessment and £5,000 for therapy, but that therapy limit has been cut to £3,000 a year, while that separate funding for therapy assessment has been axed. Today, the cuts were the centre of a debate led by Mid-Sussex MP Alison Bennett, as Peter Whittlesey reports.
This is a story that's hard to tell because of child protection issues. This little boy can only be described as E, and I can't go into his difficult start in life. All I can say is he was neglected. All that changed after he was adopted by Rachel. She knew E was likely to have problems from the trauma he suffered. But what she didn't know was the government would cut funding to help him from £5,000 to £3,000 a year. That's why she's been in London today, urging the government to change its mind.
When I started the adoption process, I was assured that we would receive support post-adoption, that there is therapy from very trained specialists, and we'd be able to access that support. We're reassured that would be there, and especially as a solo adopter, I was assured that I wouldn't be left, and now I feel like this government have just taken that away from us.
Because of the cuts, E will only receive 6 months of therapy instead of a whole year. Rachel's campaigning was praised in Parliament by the MP for Mid-Sussex.
The fund also provides vital support to parents like Rachel, who is here today and who speaks so powerfully about the importance of the fund and the irreversible damage its withdrawal does.
Experts agree on that point of irreversible damage. Former head teacher, therapist and mother of an adopted child says neglect in early years has an impact on the brain, which has to be addressed.
Trauma interrupts normal, healthy, holistic development of neural pathways in the brain. So it's crucial that we are putting something in place that helps children develop relationships.
Today, the government confirmed that funding would continue at its reduced level into the next financial year, and the Department of Education would launch a public engagement process to better understand how well the fund is working. But Rachel says that's just not enough.
He has such complex needs now because of everything that's happened to him before he came home to me. And when I say love is not enough, it's not enough.
But Rachel says love and financial support could transform her son's life. Peter Whittlesey, BBC South East Today, Sussex.
Next, the dry spring and summer will create a crisis this winter, say farmers. A decrease in quality grazing grass, thanks to the weather, means livestock farmers are now having to use what they had saved for winter feed. And they say having to buy expensive additional hay to see animals through those colder months will put some farmers out of business. Chrissy Reedy reports.
Already tucking into winter supplies of hay, the dry spring and summer has meant this year's yield for winter forage is way down.
Basically, it's all down to lack of rainfall. From the spring, we need the rain from end of February through till end of April, early May, showery rain daily, 2 or 3 times a week to help the grass start growing, and it's never happened this year. Come on.
Tim will have to buy in extra supplies of hay, but with demand up, costs have doubled.
Come on, that's good girls. This year already bales are up to £40 and they're likely to be more, £50, £60 very soon. It's unsustainable.
Come on, Joey. Come on, Pat.
While hay is in short supply, straw has also been impacted. This animal sanctuary has more than 100 animals that need bedding. They're anxious about extra costs.
It's terrifying, if I'm honest. We're a very, very small charity. We have no reserves, so we fundraise monthly to pay for the next month. So to have an increase like this is kind of like the kind of thing that we are, we're having sleepless nights about, because we've somehow got to find that money or there's no more intakes.
Lack of rainfall in the southeast means supplies of hay and straw are in some cases coming from as far away as the West Country.
The situation at the minute is serious, but it's not critical. It could become critical by the spring if we have a long, hard winter and animals have got to stay housed for a long time.
For Tim, he says if he doesn't dip into his savings, he'll have to make some difficult decisions.
I'm worried because it's going to eat into my savings to be able to feed them. I don't want to sell them. They're all sort of friendly, and it would break my heart to see them all go.
It's an anxious time. The hope now is for a mild winter. Chrissy Reedy, BBC South East Today, Tunbridge Wells.
Now it's just after 7:15. A reminder of our top story tonight. A terminally ill man from Sussex says issues in his rented flat that have not been properly addressed are having a devastating effect on his physical and mental health. He says he's encountered mould and a leaking roof, forcing him to sleep in a tent to shelter from the water. Also in tonight's programme. What Winston wore, a peek into Churchill's historic wardrobe as a new display opens at his country residence Chartwell in a newly restored room.
And after a week of heavy rain, it's a drier, brighter day for Friday, but will it stay that way for the weekend? I'll have the details for you a little later in the programme.
A fan zone for 2,000 spectators has opened up in Brighton as the city prepares to host 2 matches in the Women's Rugby World Cup. England play Australia in Falmer on Saturday, with New Zealand playing Ireland at the same venue the following day. Well, James Dunn is at the fan zone in Brighton getting ready for the big event. Oh, there's quite a lot going on there behind you, James. Excitement's building already.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, it opened at 1 and the party, as you can hear, is very much still going. Space for up to 2,000 people, food, drinks on sale, and of course a massive big screen so people can watch the matches over the weekend. It's a pretty packed schedule of events over the next 3 days. But if you are in Kent thinking, well, that's miles away, then you might want to look out for Rosie Gallagher on Saturday. She's in the starting 15. She grew up playing for the Aylesford Bulls. Robin Gray has been to meet her.
This home World Cup is already having huge interest from the family around Rosie Gallagher.
My dad has been like, Rosie, you need to get as many as you can because all the boys want to come down, which is an amazing feeling. Like, I think when I first got into rugby, my dad has told me now, he was a bit like, oh, like, I'll support you, but didn't really think anything of it. And now, like, he's bringing all his mates along that he went to school with. We talk about women wanting to bring women up, but actually when you have like your dad and your male allies behind you, like, that's the important part, and that's the like really powerful part as well, that they're getting behind something that can be so massive.
And it was here at Aylesford Bulls in Kent that Rosie's rugby journey began.
It means a massive amount to women and girls playing rugby, because it gives them something on such a high platform that they can see that they can achieve that. It doesn't matter that they're a girl, they can achieve just the same as anybody else. It will make a massive difference because it gives ladies and girls an insight into that they're just as important as everybody else, because they clearly are, and the skill set they've got is amazing.
It's just amazing to be able to go back there, see some of the people, see some of the faces that I saw when I first started rugby at 16, and they're all so supportive of my journey, and I'm forever grateful for that. Whenever I see their faces in the crowd, it's always nice to see that once a ball, always a ball, and you know that when you see them.
Away from the pitch, it's already been some summer. Rosie's just got engaged to teammate Marley Packer.
We kind of had a few walks down at Whitstable during our relationship, and to be able to go back there a few weeks ago and take Marley's son as well, just to show him one of our special places. Yeah, it was just incredible. Feeling very happy, and now I just want to win a World Cup to top it off.
To be able to redefine women's rugby, winning that World Cup will mean everything. Like Allianz Stadium, 80,000 people supporting the Red Roses in a standalone game against whoever in the final. Like, that's giving me goosebumps just saying it.
All eyes are now on the Amex this weekend, where a win over Australia would continue a memorable summer for Rosie Galligan. Robin Gray, BBC South East Today.
Well, we're all hoping that she has the best year possible. Back to the fan zone here. It's already been a busy day. We've had the England team here, the Red Roses, the Australia team as well, answering questions from school children. And of course, lots of local teams representing their club. And I've got one of them here with me now. I've got Scarlett, Caitlin and Hetty from Seaford RFC. I'm going to start with you, Scarlett. You got to meet England players earlier. What was that like?
That was an amazing experience. We got lots of photos and autographs from them, and it was lovely having a chat with them to find out what their daily life is like and what they sort of do for their training and what their like after match food is and stuff like that with what they do.
And I'll ask you, Caitlin, I mean, what does it mean to you as someone who plays rugby locally to have a tournament of this scale just down the road?
I think it's lovely. I think it definitely inspires like the younger generation, especially younger girls, to get into rugby and start playing and like having that fun experience.
And Hetty, I mean, you guys already have a thriving team.
Yeah, we have a massive team of girls, which is great for the local team, especially with the World Cup here, and inspiring younger girls to get more involved in rugby, because we used to have to play with boys when we were younger, and it's so nice just to have a fully girls team.
And I'm just going to ask you all, like, who's going to win the World Cup?
England.
Well, that was unanimous there. We have England are going to win the World Cup. We hope. Just a quick reminder, if you want to find out more about the stars of the tournament, you can visit the BBC website Summer of Sport by scanning this QR code here that you can see on the screen. And don't forget, tomorrow we have got a special programme celebrating the biggest teams in world rugby in Sussex over the weekend. We're going big on this one, Ellie.
Brilliant. Well, ask a silly question, James. Of course England are going to win. Thank you. Now, nearly 150 cyclists have set off from Kent through Tunbridge and Ashford on their way to Paris. It's the Kent-based Royal British Legion's annual bike ride, which raises money to support the armed forces community. The riders and volunteer medics are travelling 285 miles through the Kent and French countryside before arriving in Paris on Sunday, when they'll cross the finish line at the Arc de Triomphe. Now, an iron, Sir Winston and his wardrobe, because 6 of the wartime Prime Minister's most famous outfits have been dusted off for display at his country residence of Chartwell. The uniforms and suits are fitted to mannequins matching his measurements. Phil Harrison's been to take a look.
A fashion show like no other, exhibiting clothes once worn by one of history's most recognisable figures. All in a restored room very familiar to its previous owner, Sir Winston Churchill.
Winston Churchill had a particular awareness of the fact that if you made yourself memorable through clothing, but also through gestures, through cigars, whatever it may be, there was an increased chance that people would identify with you, remember you, in terms of his political success, hopefully vote for you. But in terms of his Second World War leadership, really that's when his image comes into its own as a tool to be a symbol of resilience and courage for the British people. The garments that are shown here at Chartwell as part of this new display range from military uniforms, which would have been worn at major meetings. You've got siren suits. The velvet one we have is usually more of an evening garment for Winston Churchill, so that would have been private moments, perhaps with family and friends. But the whole array of them comprises this iconic image that people associated with him during the Second World War.
We should be very foolish to allow all that is taking place before our eyes
And these historic garments look particularly lifelike because they're modelled by mannequins based on Sir Winston's dimensions.
We're so pleased with the mannequins. They were specially made based on the gait and the posture of Churchill when he wore the uniforms. So we took a lot of time to make sure that we were investigating exactly what they should have looked like, and I think you'll agree they've turned out absolutely fantastic. For anyone who'd been to the room previously, it's very different to how it looks now, and although we obviously knew the house, we were quite surprised to find a fireplace that we weren't entirely sure had survived. Actually it's in fantastic condition, and it's really given us a little extra element to the room as well.
With the exhibition open from today, it gives the many and the few the opportunity to understand more about this iconic leader. Phil Harrison, BBC South East Today, Chartwell.
Time for a look at the weather. Rachel is here. I feel like autumn has just exploded all over us this
Summer's
week.
over.
What's
Autumn has
going
started.
on?
We'll have got some sunshine for you tomorrow.
Good.
But yes, of course, it has been a week of heavy rain. Even this morning, we had some really heavy showers, a band of rain. Eventually, it cleared. Look at these clouds. But there was a glimmer of brightness around. Sorry, not behind me there. But I'm sure many of you seeing some sunshine this afternoon. And we've got an area of high pressure to thank for that. And that actually means for us tomorrow a much brighter and drier day. Yes, one or two scattered showers, but much fewer certainly than today. And by Saturday, temperatures once again reaching the low to mid 20s. I'm afraid the rain, though, will be back again by Sunday. Now, of course, earlier we've had this area of low pressure. We had that band of rain swirling around it. It cleared its way eastwards first thing this morning. Behind it through the afternoon, more in the way of clearer skies. You can see behind me one or two scattered showers, but increasingly it's a dry and clear night. The winds ease off, so maybe a little bit of mist and fog. And again, quite a chilly night. So overnight temperatures dropping to single figures, 6 or 7 degrees, always a bit lower in more rural spots. So initially a bit of mist and fog first thing for Friday, but lots of sunshine, certainly compared with this morning. And by the afternoon, you might just catch one or two scattered showers, but for many of us, it's a dry and a bright day. The winds stay lighter as well. So temperatures creep up. Today, we had highs in the teens of around 18 degrees, and tomorrow, once again, more like 20 or 21. So a similar picture from Friday over into Saturday. Clearer skies, lighter winds. You may well see some mist and fog. Again, it's going to be quite cool with temperatures in single figures, overnight lows of around 8. Now for Saturday, certainly the drier, brighter and warmer day of the weekend. By the afternoon, temperatures once again 22, 23 degrees. I'm afraid it does start to break down as we go over into Sunday. You can see all that blue behind me. It's going to be turning wet again, and into the new week it stays changeable. We've got some hefty showers around, and once again it will be feeling a lot cooler. But before we get there, we've got lots of sunshine around for Friday and Saturday. Make the most of it.
We will. Thank you very much, Rachel. That is it from Rachel and me and everybody here. I am, though, back with your usual late news update at 10:30. Bye-bye.